Tell when he doesn't like the guy, but yeah, positivity,
draft talk,
real sunshine, real ray of sunshine there.
Look at that ray of sunshine.
That did pick me up a little bit. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets Podcast. Put a little grunge on it. Did you hear that? Let me get a little deep voice. We're here in the Toyota Lounge room by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. We got a great show for you today because Spirit Week rolls on. And we are having a guest from our Avs coverage today to talk about the parallel arcs of the Avs and the Nuggets. Is there something we can learn? Plus, they have an interesting front office structure I want to ask about. So,
not just anybody from the Avs podcast, a former VP and player of the Avs.
Well, there you go, man. So, somebody that knows what they're talking about, unlike us. I've got Brendan Vogt in the house.
Rocking a flower shirt today, full summer. One time I was dating someone who said it's me or the shirt, and I chose the shirt.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly if you're listening and not watching, but I did choose the shirt.
I mean, the shirt is part of what
you
we
got to
love about
keep
you.
wearing it, I guess.
Yeah. Once you choose the shirt, you can't.
You're like, man, I regret that. I don't even like this shirt
She was
anymore.
a great girl, too. Not really.
It was a tough one.
Tough choice, man.
Over here, Harrison Wind.
What's up, guys? Excited for today's show. We're raising money for Big Brothers, Big Sisters, of course, across the whole network this week. And if you can, there's a button to donate right where you usually super chat.
Yeah.
If you're a super chatter, donate instead and just hit us up in the chat, say you donated, and we'll treat it as a super chat at the end of the show. And also, we just heard the overall donation numbers for the whole network.
Man, I'm disappointed in all of you.
All the different markets. We're getting crushed.
We are getting crushed. DNVR
specifically by those assholes in Chicago.
I kind of love Chicago. If
I mean,
somebody's going to beat
like
us, it's
them
them.
too,
But Philly's beating us too. We can't stand for this.
They're assholes. Sorry, write the report.
Yeah, there you go. Write the report.
Write 2 reports for that.
We're down in Phoenix territory, guys.
Yeah, we don't want to be there. So,
we need you to donate.
Really
it's a good
appreciate
cause.
It. It's a good cause. Big Brothers, Big Sisters, an awesome organization. Also, I was trying to think of this before the show. Maybe we can just workshop it live. I feel like if people donate, for every $50 or something, I'll do something. But I don't know what that something is. Any ideas?
I'm in as well if we can think of things. What's your push-up game like, Wind?
Not great.
Cool. I think we should do that.
We got to get them up to shape. It's summer. It's almost summer league, man. You got to get in shape.
Yeah. So if anybody has ideas for that,
let us know. I want to start today. We're going to talk about a potpourri of topics today.
Nice.
But I want to start because this is the time of year I just start thinking. You know what I mean?
Got a lot of ideas flowing.
What's so funny?
It's a funny sentence.
You didn't think that was a good setup?
No, it's just funny. I'm curious.
Is this what you're doing this time of year? Because sometimes you get into it and you're in the minutia, and then sometimes you sit and you just think. And right now I'm just thinking about, all right, all the different aspects of the Nuggets going on. Because you think about, what are they going to do with Russ, the big stories. DaRon Holmes is a guy we have not talked much about this offseason just yet. And he really is Denver's de facto first-round pick this year. Redshirt year, not by design, tore his Achilles at Summer League. Will, I'm told, play in Summer League, although we'll see. I mean, right now we don't have a general manager, so a lot of those decisions. But I believe he will play in Summer League this year. And more importantly, it's possible that he is a rotation piece next year. And I don't know if you guys feel this way. Maybe it's the hair. Zeke Naji, DaRon Holmes, it almost feels like there's 2 guys, one, that make up one player. But I don't know that that's necessarily fair.
It's probably the hair.
It is probably the hair.
You're making that comparison. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, DaRon Holmes, definitely, your draft pick. I think it's right to view him that way. And a mystery box, to be honest, man. I mean, just speaking generally, I don't have a ton of expectations for him next year, but if he gives you anything, it would be huge.
So the 3-point shooting to me is the first thing I think we can point to about between him and Zeke. And look, I think Zeke could have been a good 3-point shooter. I think his confidence. Zeke obviously, I think, got ruined early on. Is Denver going to still try to reclaim it? We'll get to that in a second. But DaRon Holmes shoots the ball, and he shoots it with confidence, and he works on his shot a lot. And to me, I think the first part of this is if you threw out every other part of his skill set and just said, oh, he's the power forward that can hit the corner three, it'd be like, well, Denver does need that, right? They haven't had that option of a guy they could go to. So on the first pass is DaRon Holmes, I do think, is going to get some kind of minutes next year. And if he's just the 3-point specialist, that could be a valuable thing.
I mean, you look at the roster right now, backup power forward is Zeke Naji.
Yeah.
So there's room there. That's a position battle to be won. DeAndre Jordan, as of right now, not on the roster. So, Holmes you could look at as more as a 4 than a 5, but Denver's gone small at the backup 5 before. Point being, they don't have one right now. Yes, as of right now, DaRon Holmes is in the conversation to play next year. That's almost feels unfair just saying it.
Why?
Because he's a rookie coming off of an Achilles tear. So my initial expectations will be if DaRon Holmes struggles at Summer League, I'm okay with this. I'm going to give him that grace. But this is a guy who has a chance to make an impact. And that you say a 4 that could shoot the 3. I mean, it's kind of what Zeke was supposed to be.
Right.
So whether it could be Zeke or DaRon Holmes, I think one of those two you'd really love to actually be in the rotation.
And I keep thinking about how Denver, with their roster, shooting is obviously one of the things they need. Even just having one more shooter. I mean, we talk about Cam Johnson would be incredible if they could trade for him or grab Luke Kennard maybe as your guy. But part of me goes, DaRon Holmes could end up being that guy that just gives you a different look. And in some of your key lineups, if you're new coach, maybe it's a different rotation and stuff. If he is a guy that just even gets some Jokic minutes but plays the 4 as this like hustler and corner guy, like all your energies on defense, offensively get to the corner and knock a couple down. To me, I actually don't. There is something intriguing about it. I'm saying all this to say DaRon Holmes is one of the things that I think is most interesting about the Nuggets right now. Because he is new, different, and there's reason to be hopeful about him.
Yeah, I'm excited about the shot. He shot 38.5% from 3 last year. And if you remember when we talked about him right after the Nuggets drafted Holmes, he's a guy who did not really come into college as much of a shooter and steadily improved his 3 years at Dayton. And, we've watched him shoot at practices off to the side as he's rehabbed. The shot looks pretty good. I've always felt like the shot has looked pretty solid. So I'm confident in his ability as a shooter. And, coming off an Achilles, you wonder about the speed, the reaction, like changing direction, that kind of stuff. The shooting, I feel like, would be one of the first parts of his game that we see, like get back up to the level that it was at pre-injury. So I'm excited for that. And yeah, you just think about the lack of shooting the Nuggets had last season. He would be in the Nuggets' top 5 shooters.
Right, could be.
So
that's kind of a big deal. I know, like they threw Julian Strawther out there, and he actually made an impact in that first series. But you threw Julian Strawther out there knowing he had deficiencies, but it was like, we just need shooting at any cost.
Just need shooting.
And so to me, it's actually somewhat realistic that DaRon Holmes could be a meaningful player. And then I'll tell you this, Vogt. Unlike the last several years, there's a chance DaRon Holmes is the only young player on the roster. I mean, Hunter Tyson likely on the roster too. There's some other guys. But when we talk about guys in the rotation, Peyton's over the hump in that he's no longer a young guy. Christian, even Julian going into year 3, it's not like he's a young guy anymore. I don't know that they're going to add any rookies or playable guys, behind him. DaRon Holmes might have the lucky role of being, you're the only young guy. Your job's easy. Make threes, just fly, dive on the floor if you can.
And listen.
Yeah.
And be super coachable, do everything 15 says. Yeah, I mean, the pipeline is, as we outlined to start the show, he is the de facto pick right now. There's no room for another kid in this equation. There is room for DaRon Holmes because of the Zeke question, because of the lack of a backup big. There is room for DaRon without further entrenching yourself in that plan or any. He's already on the roster, so he is a guy. He's the guy who could be a new face, next year. That's already on the roster right now. I'm hopeful he can be. You watch the playoffs for as good as the Nuggets, I actually ultimately think showed themselves to be. It's incredible how many of these rosters just have guys who can hit open threes, just to down the roster, and the Nuggets don't. And I don't think they need to be taking a boatload more threes or anything like that, but they do need more guys who can hit open ones. So if DaRon Holmes, come on down, got a big opportunity.
Real quick, guys, we just got an anonymous $250
What?
donation.
Let's go.
Whoever dropped
We appreciate that.
Should I
man. It
drop
goes
and do
to a
25
great-
push-ups?
It does. Maybe you're going to have to here very quickly to pay this debt off. Maybe in our fourth segment. That's 25 push-ups. We do appreciate
We'll
it.
accumulate push-ups for the end of the show.
It is for a very good cause, so keep them coming in,
Thank
guys.
you,
And
man,
thank you
whoever
for
did
setting
that.
the tone. This does not go to us, straight to Big Brothers Big Sisters. The other thing I think about, Zeke Naji is sort of really important to the Nuggets because I don't know if they're going to be able to move him right now. Negative value contract, and it might actually fit. Like I could see a world where I don't know if I see a world where both guys play. That's the thing that I think would be very unrealistic. DaRon Holmes and Zeke Naji. But I could see a world where Zeke Naji gets an open pasture early on in the year. Let's try to rehab his value. Let's try to make him look somewhat decent. But then where they have DaRon Holmes to where that trade, obviously I think they would trade Zeke if they got an opportunity to. But that it makes it easy to be like, hey, we have two players that are somewhat similar. Let's give Zeke the run early and hand it off to DaRon as we go. To me, I kind of think that's actually how this is going to play out.
That would make sense, especially considering the injury DaRon's coming off and Zeke would be the guy you want to trade out of those two for sure. I don't know if I can do it again, to be honest,
With Zeke?
with Zeke.
Well, you can't talk yourself into excitement about him. But I do think you can say that's probably what Denver has to do. Otherwise, they're going to have the same problem next summer, too.
I know. Honestly, it wasn't that long ago where Zeke was playing minutes next to Nikola Jokic, and he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you remember that stretch of the
course.
season? What was that? March?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And, that's long forgotten now. But one of the biggest things that David Adelman has on his plate, I feel, is changing how the Nuggets look at their bench in terms of the rotations, in terms of who's out there, in terms of what our mindset and identity is when Nikola Jokic is off the floor. I feel like it was one of the biggest strikes against Michael Malone. He was never really able to figure that out over the last several years. The Nuggets just have to have a better approach there. They have to put more thought into it, I think. Because I just don't think there's been a lot of thought into what plays are we calling? What's our identity? Like, what are we actually trying to do with Jokic off? That's one of, Adelman's biggest questions that he has to answer. And utilizing Zeke in different ways, utilizing DaRon in a smart way, those are two things he's got to be cognizant of.
Does it do anything for you that we have a potential Holmes and Watson nickname with
Yes,
the bench?
absolutely. Yeah.
Good benches have to
that's
have a
good,
nickname.
actually.
I was just going to say, I actually think that's an essential component of a fun bench group. They're missing some other essential components, but at least they have the name, and that would be cool. And then with Zeke, I'm with you. You can't just start from day one and go fifth highest paid player on the team. Unusable.
Right.
You got to try, I think. So I'm with you that he'll factor in. Adelman, he didn't play at all under David Adelman in the postseason, but as Jokic said, when you've been playing the same seven guys for a month and you essentially been in a playoff environment prior to the playoffs even starting, you're not going to fold new guys back in. So we'll see if Adelman has a vision of playing for Zeke, because it just seems like a huge waste to have him just sitting on the end of the bench, taking up that much money and not burning any minutes.
I also think that there's something healthy about these two guys competing with each other because Zeke, also is now going to be pushed by DaRon Holmes. DaRon Holmes pushed by Zeke, coming into camp. I do think it's a clean slate, more or less. I mean, nothing's a perfectly clean slate, but I do think it's more so than if Michael Malone was coming back. And I just think there's something good about, hey, we have these two guys that do have similar skill sets, but are different. And now it's, hey, let's see who's gonna get it. I think DaRon Holmes is a hard worker, by all accounts, very hard worker and extremely coachable. Played for a smart coach in college. I actually think you need a good mix of young blood and old heads. I actually think DaRon Holmes next year will provide a sneaky important ingredient, which is just the new guy who's excited to be there.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many guys are excited to be there? They've kind of gone through all the motions a million times.
Great point.
DaRon Holmes, I think, is going to be like, no, guys, I said all of last year was horrible. I was in the fourth row. We were sitting there. This is awesome.
Dude, I went to that one Magic game and those DNVR guys were sitting in front of me.
This is incredible. I'm pumped to be in, is it La Jolla? Is that where the camp is?
Have they announced it?
Well, I mean, usually
Well,
I'm
not
just saying.
last year, but yeah, I bet they'll go somewhere for training camp. Yeah,
He's going to be the only guy that's excited to be there, and I just think that's an important thing. So I will say this. I think DaRon Holmes, because of the energy, has unimpressive summer league. I think he probably has a slow start to the year. But like Christian Brown before him and several other guys, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like January and he slowly starts to filter into the rotation and actually becomes an important piece of this team.
Yeah, that should be the goal. Preseason, maybe he has a couple cups of coffee in the rotation start of the season. But as you're winding the corner, as you go into January, February, if he can give you minutes, that would be best case scenario, I think.
All right, let us know what you guys think about DaRon Holmes. Again, there's not that much that I think is going to change for the Nuggets, so DaRon Holmes might be the most exciting or one of the most exciting new additions to the team, and it actually is pretty exciting, so let us know what you think in the chat. On the other side, we're going to have our buddy, our pal, Eric LaCroix join the show. Stay tuned.
Guys, whether you're on the road or at home, somewhere in between, First Bank makes banking easy, convenient, and secure. They got a mobile banking app that allows you to check balances, pay friends, and manage your money anytime, anywhere. Here's the best part. Open a new First Bank checking account today. You could earn $300. First Bank, they're all about helping you guys stay on track. Their tools make it really simple to stay in control of your finances without the hassle. So if you are ready for better banking and the chance to earn a little extra, go to efirstbank.com/bonus, efirstbank.com/bonus. You open your account, you could earn $300, and you can bank how you want, when you want with First Bank. Certain restrictions and requirements apply. Member FDIC. Open a new First Bank checking account today. You could earn $300. $300.
Sun's out. It's time to go outside and play. And that means adults too, right? That in society, kids are encouraged to go play outside, go play sports, make some new friends. With Volo, adulting doesn't have to suck, right? Okay, you can go play some kickball. You can go run around like a child. You can make some new friends in our great, beautiful city. Volo is Denver's most popular provider of adult social sports leagues, pickup games, and events. Sports offered include soccer, volleyball, pickleball, kickball, basketball, cornhole, and many more. Great way to meet new people, stay active, mix up your workout routine, see new parts of the city. You can play in Lodo, Rhino, Highlands, City Park, Cherry Creek, South Broadway, and more. You can sign up as a free agent, small group, or full team, and all ability levels and backgrounds are welcome to join. Use code DNVR10 for $10 off any Volo Denver league.
Alrighty, we are back here, segment 2, and as part of Spirit Week, we're playing a little musical chairs, having some different people from the DNVR universe on, and today we welcome in our buddy, Eric LaCroix. Is he with us? Hey! You mute yourself, or is this
signed
a
Shaquille O'Neal jersey?
Oh, signed.
Really?
Sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow, look at that.
Kale, can you turn it up a little bit so we can't hear anything?
There's like a delay going on with your
a little
mic,
bit of a delay. Biggie, so people don't know, man. Biggie, first and foremost, one of the nicest guys on earth. Wouldn't you agree? If we had to rank
I would say he's in the conversation of nicest
guys. Number one. Also, just a tremendous hockey mind and somebody who's been around KSE, the Crockies, and this organization for a while. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, the Avs lost in painful fashion this year in a Game 7 against a rival. And they did it after, from my perspective, pushing all of their chips in, saying, hey, we're going for it this year, which is not what the Nuggets did. They kind of held tight. Would you agree with that, if I'm reducing this Avs season to that they pushed all their chips in and kind of went for it this year? Or am I making it too simple?
Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me on. Can you hear me pretty good?
Now we can,
brother. Great.
Sorry. Yeah. No, it's usually work. I don't know why. My ear.
Probably Kale, to be honest. We just assume it's Kale.
Probably Kale.
Yeah. I'll blame Kale. Thanks for having me on. And then my basketball knowledge is following you guys, so that's it. So if you guys, that's where I'm at. I found this jersey, so I put it on. I got my basketball right here. I'm ready to go. We just had Hank on ours, and Henry is just a well-oiled machine. I'm a one-trick. I mean, and then it's like I would sleep last night knowing I was coming on with you guys, but nonetheless, No, you're right, and I'll take this opportunity to apply for the GM job for the Nuggets. Apparently, there's no GM.
Yeah, you're in the. You
mean,
put your
That was
name
a
in the hat.
strong case.
You do have the most front office experience out of anybody I know.
He's also
So-
got the Shaq jersey. I mean, he's
Yeah.
kind of.
I'm ready to go. I mean, I'm gonna call you guys, and you guys can be my assistants because I guess the assistant got let go too, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, no, you're right. Avalanche wise, they did push all the chips in. I thought the front office and Chris and Joe and did an unbelievable job. And at the end of the day, they gave their core, right? The Makar, McKinnon, kind of like Jokic and Gordon and those guys, right? A chance to go win. Hockey, a little different. You need a little more depth, a little bit. I don't know how it is in basketball, but obviously I think that's one of the Nuggets' problem, right? Don't have enough depth.
Correct,
So I felt that retooling the goaltending early in the year, they did everything except the most important thing, which is to go win those games. You know what I mean? And I hate to blame players because I was a player, but for me, that's where it come down to. There was opportunities for them to win games, especially early in the series. They had overtime, 4-minute power plays, and in hockey, it's like, man, if you don't score, that's going to bite you, and that's exactly what it did. And then they lost those overtime games. I do believe they could have easily won that series in 4 or 5. That's what I had predicted. I felt they were the way better team, but at the end of the day, it's on the scoreboard. They didn't win. And, it comes down to pushing the chips in. They did. As far as going out there and execute, they didn't. So that would be a little bit of the difference. And the Nuggets, I saw it was a little bit of a different, firing everybody right before and, going all out and street brawling and, which was awesome. And again, I don't know basketball. You guys know that. But, it sounds like there was a tight series against Oklahoma, which is obviously a good team that's probably going to win it all, right? Correct? They're probably going to win it all. Like
Sitting in position to do so. Yep.
I'd say.
Yeah. So the Nuggets, it's not like they got blown out by a team that they should have beaten, and it was just a free for all. And again, it was just they just didn't have enough, and it very similar to the Avalanche where they didn't have enough in a sense on the court or on the ice. They just didn't outperform the other team, but. Two different styles, management. Avs, they threw it all in, where Nuggets, it was more like, let's throw the Hail Mary and, let's hope for something, a spark. And, Malone had done a great job, obviously. I mean, I'm assuming. You want a championship.
Won a championship.
It's kind of like everybody wants Bednar's head, too. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, for what? What are you going to do? And I get it. Sometimes you need a new voice. And again, it could be Jared. I think he's outstanding, but it could be his turn too. All of a sudden, the Avs get bounced out in the first round this year. Then it's a results-driven business. It just is. Florida and the NHL did the job last night. 31 other teams failed. You know what I mean? Yeah. So at some point, results. If the results are not there, then you got to look at the coaching and make some changes like the Nuggets did.
Yeah. Let me ask you, because one thing Nuggets fans say, and there might be some truth to it. Oh, the Cronkies are afraid to make a big move. They're just going to sit on this and not do anything. And, this year the Avs were the opposite of that. They were very aggressive. I mean, they made like 30 trades, it felt like, in the middle of the season. Do you feel like, is this year an anomaly from what you've seen of this era of the Avs? Or do you feel like, hey, at least on the Avs side, the management and ownership has been willing to be aggressive and to make moves? How do you evaluate that when you hear Nuggets fans say, oh, the Cronkies will never make moves?
Yeah, which I disagree with, because obviously worked there for so many years, and hockey being different. I will say that hockey being different than the Nuggets. Mr. Kroenke and we'll call him Josh, so not to be confused. Mr. and Josh have basketball backgrounds, right? That's their passion. That's what drives. That's what drove them into this business. It's not like, hey, there's a hockey team, let's go buy the Avalanche. No, it was all about. It was a real estate play. We all know that they're some of the smartest. Mr. Carter is one of the smartest, real estate person ever. I think history. Just I mean, it just speaks for itself, right? I mean, you don't have to be a sports fan. We're talking about pure businessman. It doesn't get much better than him. With that said, a passion for sports, and then Josh having a basketball background. I did watch Josh actually at Mizzou State back then against CU. I did go to CU, watch that game. I want to say a couple. Yeah. So yeah, I'm old. I'm getting old, and then but it's a great family, and obviously a very smart family. And then basketball being their driving force behind everything. And obviously the NFL comes knocking on the door years later, and all the success that they're having. Their methods must work, right? I mean, I'm sorry, their methods must work. The NFL, the NBA, the NHL. What did they go 3 for 3? Right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
3 years in a row.
So all of a sudden, Avs being run a little bit differently, I would say, or I will assume.
Well, can we get into that real quick? If I interrupt you here, because they had Joe Sakic for a while, seemed like he was in one role. And then they bring in Chris McFarland and elevate Sakic to this almost like, okay, I'm real big picture kind of role now. And we're wondering what the Nuggets are going to do, because it feels to me like they're going to elevate Ben Tenzer to general manager. But they might bring in somebody who's president of basketball operations, sort of in a Sakic role. So how does it work on the Avs side? What does Sakic do? What does McFarland do? What's the difference?
Yeah. I mean, I think that hockey, it's maybe a little different than basketball in the sense of the hierarchy of where people are. But Avalanche style did not really change much. I think Joe's title changed where all of a sudden he was already doing. I think the titles changed where Chris was kind of doing the general manager work, and okay. Joe was doing the president, overseeing everything, and also shaking hands. He is the face of the franchise. We don't have that on the Nuggets side, right? Joe is you say Avalanche, you say Joe Sakic, right? I mean, that's just the way it is, right? Because of success as a player, success in management now, and he is Mr. Avalanche. So it's a little different. I think titles changed over years a little bit, but I don't think the job titles really were changed that much. With that said, hockey, I think, have to present their plan, their layout, what they're going to do, and it's a little bit more a hands-off approach from KSC, I would say, right? Because of that is not their background. That is not their forte. Where I would say basketball, they might have a more maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, I'm just assuming.
Right now, it seems like they're hands-on. Right
now,
it
seems correct.
Right, Josh. I haven't worked at the league. I haven't worked with the Nuggets. What I mean? Like, so it's all normal. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying that would be the difference between the Avs and the Nuggets. You know what I mean? Where I think Nuggets are more hands-on. Now that doesn't mean that the Avs are an afterthought or the other. It's just that it just happens to be their sport, their background. But then again, the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, they've had success everywhere, so they are hands-on, so to speak. And wonderful people at KSC too. There's been so many people there for so many years, and it's a well-oiled machine. And and again, Arsenal and overseas and all the stuff that is at your disposition. So you want to talk about having someone to call or to make a phone call or to ask an opinion on, then I think within the KSC bubble you got everything. You know what I mean? And for people to say, oh, they're not going to do anything, I think that's wrong, because I do believe that they haven't been afraid to do anything. I don't think they've ever been afraid to jump in the whatever it is, even to fire Mike Malone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, whether it's the right or wrong decision, I have no idea. Like, I don't know.
But it did take balls to make a move like that, 3 games to go.
Oh, my God, that is big balls. I mean, that's balls of steel, right? I don't care what people say. It is. Like, it's hard to do. So I do believe that, they're more hands-on in a good way. And listen, I've been in different teams, and oh boy, sometimes ownership can be really hands-on, and it makes it hard to maneuver. I don't believe that's the KSC style. Well, it's certainly not in hockey. They are not like gonna hurt you in your maneuvers and your dealings with trying to do something. Where a lot of teams in the NHL, the ownership is on top of it, and it makes it hard to make any moves or anything. So I like that for that. And I'm assuming basketball was probably the same way, but again, I think more hands-on by them because of that is their background.
Yeah, that's their background. Yeah, I know we told you 1 second or one segment. Can I have you stay on for a few more minutes? We got to take a break, but I have one more big question I want to ask you. And, you know, you're obviously the son of Pierre LaCroix. You saw this firsthand. What makes a great GM? Like, what goes into making a great? Hold it, because we got to do our break. On the other side, I want to ask you that question.
Shout out to Bet365. They have a really cool promo going on for the finals. You can earn the chance to win a jackpot of up to $100,000 in bonus bets. With the first play fortune, here's how it works. You must place a 3-leg same game parlay with the 3 legs as player to score the first basket, player to get the first assist, and player to get the first rebound. Only bets consisting of those exact 3 legs will be eligible. So you log in, place your bet, sign up, use the code DNVR365 if you're a new user and haven't signed up before. Place a 3-leg same-game parlay bet, that bet I just outlined for you, for a $1 minimum, just $1 you can do, and you can enter for your chance to win $100,000 in bonus bets. Whatever the moment, never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. In-app only. Opt-in required.
At those big box stores, when you're looking for new flooring, you may be talking to an employee. That doesn't mean you're talking to an expert. They may have just been stocking light bulbs, work in the sink section. Yeah, that's a thing, right? The sink section. Yesterday.
So. At the big box stores it is.
Now they're there at the flooring aisle, and it's great that they're there to help you in doing their job, but they're not experts. That's why you got to go with Empire today. Your best bet for new flooring. They live and breathe flooring. They'll be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ball game with our friends at Empire today, and their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home. You can pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. See how it looks with your furniture in your house. And again, get precise measurements taken by experts, have all your questions answered by experts, so there are no surprises. There should be no surprises when that professional team of installers comes and sets it up in your home or business. Schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. DNVR listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DNVR. Yes, you heard that right, a $350 discount with code DNVR. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/DNVR for full details.
All righty, we're back here with our guy, Eric LaCroix, and we're talking about the parallels with the Nuggets. You obviously, the legend Pierre LaCroix, who made some incredible deals in his time, built an incredible, iconic Avs team. I feel like you know, as well as anybody, and this is true, I think, across sport. This is where there are similarities. GMs have to have specific traits, things they do and ways they operate that make them successful. In your opinion, what are some of the most important traits, whether it's a GM or a president of basketball operations, what are some of the traits you think are essential to be good at that job?
Yeah, I think for me, I saw it last night again, like just watching the NHL wrap up its season, right, with the trophy being awarded to the Florida Panthers, and all you heard from the players, from the staff, from the coach was how big of a family they were. How big of a family it took for them to get through all this stuff. It is a team sport. It's not golf. It's not tennis. It's not an individual sport. I think you have to bring that, and I know for a fact Bill Zito, GM of Florida Panthers, is exactly what he brought when he took over 5 years ago, is that family atmosphere. I think part of the Avalanche, part of my dad's biggest strength was that. Yes, it is a business. Yes, there are business decisions. Yes, there are tough ones. We just talked about firing Malone 3 games to go. That's a tough one. There are times when you trade someone, it's not fun. But at the end of the day, you're doing it for the best of the logo, but also keeping it a family atmosphere. And I think that's very important. I don't care what sport it is. I think my dad was very good at that. And then I think if you use one word to describe him, it was more, he was a visionary. I think better than no other. I think you have to see the things 6 months, 8 months, 12 months in advance. And because if you don't, you'll be caught with your pants down, and you know the expression. And I think a good manager is exactly that. You have to see the things come before they happen, and you have to be able to map it out and plan it out and visualize it and believe in it. So if you believe in it, and I do believe, again, I don't know crap about basketball, but I tell you guys all the time, I see this Jokic guy, and it's like, holy cow, you know what I mean? Like, right? I don't take a rocket science to know that he's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when he's cool, because you're like, okay, I get it. You know, I don't need to be a scout, you know, to know that, you know, this guy's a franchise or a league best player. And I think it's important that you have to be able to visualize. You have to be able to bring something around him and build around a guy like that. And guys like that, believe it or not, and we had Tony Granato, former Avs coach, on our show yesterday, and he was talking about McKinnon and, you know, McCarr and then Sakic and Forsberg back then. If you think that you're going to treat those guys just like the other guys, then you won't last long. At some point, those guys are special, and they have earned the right. And again, without being so dumb and stupid, you have to have a relationship. And I think it's no different in management. You have to have a relationship with those key guys. I can tell you that I haven't played for the Avalanche, you know, and again, my dad, like, it was funny because I'm his real son, you know what I mean? Like, I'm his blood son. And then guys used to think that, you know, Forsberg was his real son and Patty Waugh, you know what I mean? And it'd be like, buddy, you know what I mean? And that's, again, that, you know what I'm saying? So you have to have that relationship. You have to have that vision. And I think that you have to bring that atmosphere of, you know, togetherness, a family. And, you know, I think the Nuggets, when they won a couple years ago, that's all you heard too. You know,
Yes,
and,
100%.
right. If you go, you don't have to know basketball, or I think it's always a common theme between teams that win. It's that, wow, we were a band of brothers. Wow, we were awesome together. And that's why I love sports. That's why I love team sports. And again, not to say that tennis or, you know, golf or things like that are nothing, but just think of golf. You know, how fun is it to watch golf? I mean, you know, I think it's cool. You take a nap.
He's the best.
But then you got the Ryder Cup, and then you're like, holy crap. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now it's a team event, and then it's like, you're not taking a nap. You know what I mean? Like, you're just watching it, and you're like, this is nuts, you know? So that's why I like team sports, and I think that being a visionary, and I think being a family atmosphere, type-oriented atmosphere is very important, you know, for front office or coaches.
Yeah.
Well, you're a chip off the old block in this way. You're a very likable guy. And when you were in the league, I know from our conversations, this was also part of your role. So it's important that you have this family environment from the top, ownership, front office, everything else. But it's also important to have that guy on the team that sort of brings everything together, not just make sure everybody's in trouble, but like, hey, there's a vibe that can go bad on a team. And if there's no one there to stop it, it can get bad. You know, you played that role. Well, how important is that role in a locker room?
Yeah, and they call that a glue guy, right, or whatever, which I think it's important. In hockey, yesterday you saw the championship. Again, not your listeners probably don't know, but, you know, Brad Marchand, you know, he goes to Florida. He's brand new. He's been in the league for Boston 14 years, and he totally, all of a sudden, uplifts the locker room because, you know, it became stale. They've been to the finals the last 2 years, and all of a sudden, oh my God, this is new blood, fresh blood. Guys like that are very important. If I'm going to go, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm going to say something, you're going to be like, God, you're way off in left field because, yeah, you don't know crap about basketball. But maybe Westbrook, you know what I mean? Did Westbrook bring something like that?
At times.
Or is he more like polarizing or whatever?
I would
I'd say a little more polarizing,
more the
but
second one.
he brought a lot of good camaraderie too, and a little crazy.
Giveth and taketh.
He giveth and taketh.
But anyway, it doesn't matter what sport. There's always that one guy that rallies the guys. And I don't know who it is for the Nuggets. Again, I took a chance. I see. Oh God, I'll take a sip of coffee here. And
It's Aaron Gordon for the Nuggets. He's probably
is it Gordon?
that
Yeah,
guy
okay,
if you have to
perfect. You
choose
look
one.
like to be. Yeah. Okay, Gordon is probably a better. You can tell he's always happy, and he's, you know, he goes and sees Jokic in the summer, and, you know, whatever it is, and it's like, oh wow, that's cool. You know what I mean? I think it's important. I think sometimes, like on our show, we'll look at analytics a little too much sometimes, and I'm not again Hey, Rudo, I'm not saying that because I'm learning a lot from them because analytics not my forte. Maybe because of what you just said, right? My role was a little different, and it was like, oh yeah, but you can, when negotiating contracts, it's like, oh, you can't, you can't defy my role here. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean. So it's like, at some point, sometimes you have to get away from numbers and you have to look at what a guy brings. You know what I mean? What does he bring besides those stats, or his free throw freaking shooting or whatever it is, right? I mean, and it's like, some point, what does he bring? And I think it's important. And again, whether it's the Nuggets or anybody, it's fun, and I enjoy watching championships because I think you see it once you see the trophy in the locker room. You can see like who's what and who's who. You know what I mean? Then you can be like, all right, he's that dude. You know what I mean? Like, or he's that wild card or whatever he is. So kind of fun.
Well, Eric LaCroix, man, we love you. Best Avs coverage in the world. You anchor it along with AJ and Rudo. So we appreciate you talking basketball with us. And honestly, very insightful about just how the Cronkies work, front offices, and what makes a good manager. So we appreciate it, brother.
I'm going to go back to my free throws right now.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
All right, brother. Good to see you, man.
It really is the best fit. I also love the jersey backwards.
I know.
He wanted to show the signature.
That was like the Adam, what's his name? Adam Devine.
Adam Devine is
it the
person.
singer? The singer where he was
Adam
wearing
Levine.
Shout
out Maroon 5.
Maroon 5, that's where it is.
Yeah.
Where he had the Aldridge shirt on backwards for the photo.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, some crazy breaking news though, real quick in the middle of this. You guys see this?
The Lakers?
The Lakers have sold.
I did see that, yeah.
The Lakers just sold, and I believe it is to the Dodgers investment group, which
I think he owns most of the Dodgers.
Owns of it. At least there's some kind of cross-pollination there.
Yeah.
Number one, here's my first thought.
Oh,
my first thought.
Let's go.
Kale, get it ready.
let's go. Let's go.
Conspiracy Corner.
Let's go.
Conspiracy Corner. Did the Lakers just make a trade that nobody understands that gave them one of the premier young players in the entire league just months ago? And it was like, well, how did this deal happen? And now they sell, the premier franchise sells.
Wait.
And the Mavs get the number one pick.
I was just going to say.
Was this important? Oh, like, I'll bet you it's a record number. I don't know what the number is.
Are you saying the value of the team has gone up after the Doncic trade?
I wonder if it did. I wonder if it went up for it right after they sell.
Wait a second. If they sold before the trade, that would have been worse than selling now.
Oh, for sure, it's better now. Because
better
you have
now.
Luka Doncic
You have
now.
Luka Doncic.
Yeah, so it's really better. Maybe the Busters are like, I don't know if I want to sell. My dad told me if we ever sell, he's rolling in his grave right now because this was supposed to never be sold, but they got him to sell.
Wow.
I'm going a little off the rails here, but I mean, come on.
Well,
I think you're right on the rails.
You're assuming that individuals involved have more financial vested interest than they care about the well-being of the league and sports in general. So I would say that's a little far-fetched.
Yeah, that's a little far-fetched.
What is going on here?
It does say, the report does say Jeannie Buss will stay on as governor.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
I guarantee you she won't.
They said that about Mark Cuban too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
it's a good point.
By the way, nobody talks about Mark Cuban and how he seemed to be the only guy that didn't realize that was not real.
Yeah. I know.
Yes.
Mark Cuban,
not the shrewdest,
savviest businessman in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Mark Cuban came out and was like, "No, I'm still very much involved." Blah blah blah. It's like 3 months later, he's like, "Nobody's answering my calls."
Surprisingly uninvolved. Would not have done the Luka trade. Is the implication here that the Lakers are going to be better financed than they have been?
Well,
of course.
The Lakers had one of the poorest ownership groups, if not the poorest in the league. They had no money.
Not the poorest, but very close. Yes, you are right. They were cash poor.
Yeah.
This gives them a lot of money to blow.
That's what the Lakers needed, was more money at their disposal.
I mean, the Dodgers have done okay in their ownership group. I mean, there's no salary cap. It's different in baseball where they can just buy everything. There are some limitations. Otherwise, the Lakers would probably win every single championship. But yes, the Lakers have had incompetent management and ownership for the last decade. It's been nice. They still managed to win one at Disney World. But now you look at this and say, yeah, this is an ownership group that seems to know what they're doing. Damn it.
I know. And they have Luka.
This sucks. It's kind of a bummer.
This is probably also something that Lakers fans are happy about.
It's weird because the Buss family, I was just thinking this as we were talking to Big E before this news broke, where I was like, doing all NBA has really given me an insight into every NBA fan base, which is the exact same fan base. every fan base hates their owner. Everyone does. But Lakers fans do love the Buss family. Correct. They might not like Jeannie Buss, but there's this like, hey, the Buss family is what made the Lakers. And so there's this reverence for it. So I think Lakers fans, this is probably weird just because it's been owned by the same guy for almost their entire glory days, which have been 50 years in the making.
Yeah. But now the Buss family is just, Jeannie and one of her brothers, though.
I mean, again, yeah. Yes.
I also think it's interesting that, for like a lot of conversations about the health of the league and where it's at and everything. But the Lakers and the Celtics both just sold for like a lot of money. And the league just sold and the league just signed a massive media rights deal. And it's just, there's something sort of interesting about the way the NBA, there's like this track over here, which is the ratings, how the fans feel about the league, the perceived health of the product. And then there's just the more money. And that part has just been uninterrupted despite what's ever going on over here. So
yeah.
That is interesting to see that, the two biggest organizations in the league both have sold recently. We'll see how it impacts how they operate. Lakers sounds like they got richer. Celtics will have to wait and see. But I don't like the idea of the rich getting richer at all. Just another good thing happened to the Lakers. That's cool.
It was a sneaky big deal that the Lakers ownership seemed idiotic.
I know.
D-Line has the greatest
and they
theory.
still managed to get Luka.
Yeah, D-Line had the greatest theory in that they only hired pretty people.
Yeah.
And it was like that was their only guiding light.
What does Mark Walter look like?
Well, it doesn't matter because they didn't hire him. He came in and now bought it. I can't wait to see the number. Is the number out yet, Kale?
I haven't seen the number. So what did the
Number is
Celtics
not
sell
out.
for? Was it 6.1?
6.1 billion.
And there were a bunch of things attached to it. Oh no, there wasn't. The Garden was not attached to it.
The Lakers
this number is
don't-
going to be insane.
Well, no, the Lakers don't own crypto.
Okay.
The Lakers are not even the top tenant at crypto. The Kings have number one priority there for their games and events and stuff.
Yep.
And that's always been the crazy thing to me about when you look at the Lakers. It's the Lakers. And they're playing in this old arena and they don't even have first priority there. Like, how have the Lakers not have a new arena? Because they don't have any money. They don't have the money for it. Now they probably do.
They're going to build a wall.
What?
They're going to build a wall like Ballmer. They're going to they're going to have
the
a wall.
arena. Gotcha.
I actually was with Win. I was curious where you were going with that.
No, you guys are going to
who
build
is
a
this Mark
wall.
Walter?
Like it is Southern California.
Arenas here.
Yeah, so the Celtics was 6.1, and it doesn't include any property
That's
rights.
crazy. So
That doesn't include the stadium? Wow.
Oso Blanco saying he wants to see the breakdown of the tax benefits for owning teams because why do so many owners like being involved? I think it's because you can eventually sell the teams for $6.1 billion.
Yeah,
And it's also
values
just
go
really
up.
fun.
Also,
It's fun
the
to be
types of
the
people that-
front man on a sports team.
Yeah, the people that have this kind of money, it's like, what can I buy? You can't just buy more yachts. You're like, you know what? I can buy a team.
Right.
That's something that's pretty good. I'm going to buy the Lakers. This does suck because no matter what, I mean, the Boston Celtics and Lakers both got sold this year.
It's crazy,
That's so
man.
weird.
So-
Adam Silver's NBA. I'm worried about it.
It is interesting, man. The new media deal, unbelievable. The league's in great shape. Why is everybody selling?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
because
that's
the
true.
new CBA, man. Like,
Why
these
are the
players,
two most historical, prominent franchises in league history? Why are those owners looking to sell?
Man, this is it's a very fair and interesting question here. I'll just say I think the Lakers, they should win every champion. I've always said this. The Nuggets won title. I'll take it over however many they have, 17. Although they do count those Minneapolis ones, which I just find to be so bizarre. But they have a bunch of them. And I always say they should win every year.
Yeah,
They should win every
well, it's
year,
like
man.
the Dodgers should win every year, and they almost do.
Yeah. The Lakers should win every year, but they've fortunately had, in my opinion, incompetent management and ownership, and they might have just fixed that. And that sucks. That's a bummer. We probably won't feel the repercussions of it for a little bit, but that is a lot of money to throw behind a powerhouse of a team.
It is a
$7
lot of
billion,
money.
you think?
But the flip side of someone selling it is someone also buying it for that much. Like just clear, like there's
For sure.
But yeah, it is wondering like the CBA conversation. Kale brought it up. I saw it in the chat. That's interesting. That would seem like an awfully quick reaction to that. I would think to some extent maybe there were tectonic shifts underneath these decisions that have been, those gears have been turning. But it's just, to me, it's just so interesting, like how how much money there is in this league and how that part of it seems to be growing almost untethered from all the stuff we seem to care about.
Reality.
Yeah.
Yes, it's insane. Also, LeBron, I'm very curious if LeBron is going to announce his retirement tour. I mean, it kind of feels like that's setting the stage for that this might be. And maybe this is all just a changing of the guard.
Well,
Bus
we know
final
he was very tight with the Bus family.
And rumors he wants to buy a team and stuff. It kind of feels to me, we're just purely speculating here. I kind of feel like this might be his last year.
He's running Amazon Prime ads now about whatever his next step is.
Oh, I did see that.
There's
Yeah.
LeBron during the finals.
There's really only one LeBron, man. There's really only one LeBron.
I can't wait till there's no
I got
more
a text
LeBrons.
from my father-in-law, who's a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
He said, the first step has been taken. Now all I need is for LeBron to leave, and I can fully become a Laker fan again.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Let us know, man, what you think in the comments. This sucks, man. I was hoping they would just be incompetently run forever. And it felt like that might happen.
But it also doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, you messed up a bunch. LeBron wants to come. You messed up a bunch. Here's Luka Doncic.
I know, but now they might actually have guys that
Are competent as well.
like semi-competent to
Yeah.
not trade away Caruso or KCP or any of those moves that they've made in the past here. Sucks, man. It sucks. Cronkies, you're on the clock. It's your time. Can't let the Lakers
Now, officially.
Yeah, you're now officially on the clock here. I thought we would end today's show. It's Wednesday, and I thought we got to build in some little things for us to do throughout the course of the off season. That are just for fun. Get away, have a little bit of personality and stuff. And since we have 8 minutes, I thought I saw this on another sports podcast that I thought this would be fun.
Oh, another
General
pod.
trivia that you probably don't know.
Perfect.
And that's what's funny is you're because when you don't know some of these things that you feel like you should know, your answers can be way off.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
And so I have some. I thought we could maybe do this every week. These are things that I think about that are just really nerdy and dumb. And we're going to play closest to the pin. Kale, what do you have as our first trivia question here outside of basketball? In what year? Oh, you put this as okay. In what year did Lewis and Clark set out on their famous Cora Discovery mission? I'm really into this right
I
now.
actually literally know this one.
You know the answer to it? Then let Win
Yeah,
go first.
yep.
What year Lewis and Clark go explore the West?
1492. Okay.
Sailed the ocean blue.
That happened.
That happened.
Could just start there. Yep,
Let's
start there.
there.
Work your way
I'll
forward.
go 1776.
It's
okay.
not a
No, I'm walking through the timeline. I'm walking through the timeline here.
Pilgrims are
1492, 1776.
Independence.
Of all
All right,
of
we're
this.
getting into a time frame here.
Yo, it's $10 billion.
1805. You say you know?
Extremely good guess. It's 1804.
It is 1804. That was an incredible guess.
You were trying to clown me for my for my process, and it got me to 1805.
Your process was very impressive.
Thank you.
I knew this because we talked about it yesterday, actually.
Oh, really?
Dude, it's for $10 billion.
10 billion.
Lewis and Clark?
Yes. That was yes. Mark Walters entering an agreement to purchase majority ownership. It's not even all of it. Majority ownership for $10 billion. The largest sale of a professional sports franchise in the world.
To me, is that surprising to you? 10 billion? To me, I'm like, that was the number I would throw out.
Celtics owners probably like, shit.
Well, the Celtics are not. The Celtics are prestigious.
They're not the Lakers.
Lakers.
They're
man.
not the Lakers.
They're not the
They're not the
Lakers.
Lakers.
There's levels to
10
this.
billion's a
10
big
billion is
number, man.
wild.
Imagine everything you could do with 10 billion.
I literally
you
can't.
buy
I literally
The
can't.
Lakers.
Kale, let's keep it moving here.
Good investment.
What's your next one? I want to run through a bunch of these. How many miles away from the Earth is the moon?
I have no idea on this one.
This is why it's great. Closest to the pin is going to win.
I
How many
feel like-
miles?
I feel like I've seen the TNT clip enough times to know this. I like how that's my point of reference.
The TNT
not
clip?
just
There's a
knowing
TNT
it.
clip?
There's one thing where Shaq
Oh,
can't figure out what's further, the moon from the Earth or California. It's a good clip.
Wow. Amazing.
But I'm not going to clown on him because I have to give my guess now. I honestly have no idea.
So do you have
I'm
to
going to
guess
say 1,000 miles.
1,000 miles? We have 1,000 miles
I'm going to
away.
say 1,000,000 miles.
All right, we have 1,000,000. Actually, 1,000 is closer.
Yeah, what? Wind actually won that.
Yeah, Wind actually wins. 238,900 miles. You guys are both pretty off, though. I'm not going to lie.
I
But
figured I would just cast as wide a net as possible between
1,000 miles is
1,000
not
miles.
that far. You know, that would be like here to California.
Yeah.
Now we're doing
that's
TNT
actually true.
again.
Yeah.
Now we're doing TNT again.
That was not a good guess.
All right, what else do we have here? These are random ones. How much does a bald eagle weigh?
I'm going to
Just the
say
average bald eagle.
I'm going to say the average bald eagle is 85 pounds.
85-pound bald eagle. What do you
That's
got?
way too big.
What are you guessing? Don't give him any clues here.
I don't know. The
I was
answer.
going to go way lower than that. Bald eagle.
I'm so over it.
Don't give him any hints, dude.
I would say 7 pounds.
Very good. I think it's around 7 to 10 pounds on
Nice.
average. They get up to be like 13,
It's not
14.
85.
85 pounds.
85?
Yeah, what?
That might be crazier than my
How would
1,000
it get in
miles
the air?
guess.
Think about
How big would a bird have to be?
that's like an
That's
ostrich.
just an insane guess. I
All
apologize.
right, what else do we have? I love this dumb trivia. This is what makes it. How many states are there in Mexico?
Come on, dog. Come on, brother.
You know
Oaxaca?
Mexico. How many Oaxaca? Okay.
That's one.
Okay. How many states?
When you got to go first.
I'm going to say 8.
8 states of Mexico.
I'm going to say 23.
Kale?
16? I don't know.
31 states. 31
I
states.
got one.
You're doing pretty good on this random
Are you
one.
sure on that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. What do we have, Kale? We got
Was I
another
thinking
one.
of something else? Like regions?
How many counties are there in Colorado? I like
Oh,
this
good
county one. How many
God.
counties? You guys know counties.
I literally don't even know how to estimate this.
That's why it's a great trivia question.
Adam, can't you name every county in Colorado?
Of course you can.
I mean, come on. Who amongst us, kid?
I'll say 21.
21's a solid guess. Or is it?
35.
Kale?
It's more than that. It's what, 55?
64 counties.
Wow.
Kale is dominating. I think we have one more, and I think it's a really fun one. Do you have it? Let's see. We have one more. When did the Jurassic era begin?
I actually know this one,
No,
so I'll stay out.
then hold on. When did it begin? How many years ago?
1776. 1492.
Okay, we're going backwards now.
Go to 1.
Okay, yeah, one. That was, yep, one.
How many years ago? I don't know.
Just a rough guess here. You're probably going to be off by a lot.
I'm going to say it
Are you
was.
Googling this? Don't you dare
No,
Google
I'm not Googling
cheat.
it. I'm going to say it was 85 million years ago.
85 million years ago, the Jurassic era began.
I'll say 500,000 years ago.
500,000. Kale?
It's 200 million.
200 million.
I have no sense of time or distance, apparently.
You didn't keep going back the way
It seems unfathomable that there have been 200
million years?
years.
Like 200 million
200
years.
million
That
years.
200 million
like even a million years seems crazy.
That's
It does
right.
seem really
A million's
high.
a big
I'm
number.
like
That's
30
right.
something.
Super on like a deep history kick lately.
Yeah.
That's just been my YouTube algorithm for like a
million
month.
years.
We also have the Triassic era before that. You got the Precambrian. I mean,
Mesozoic.
time is. It, you know,
was
I mean,
really
the
gets
Cambrian
weird.
explosion is the reason for all of this.
We had to continents had to drift apart and then create
Big
mountains
Bang.
and destroy mountains and recreate mountains. I mean, it's a lot of time. Geological time scale is
A
pretty
million years.
So Lewis and Clark did not see any dinosaurs.
good.
No.
You want to know something interesting? Though?
I do. Hit me.
They did anticipate though that they might. That was part. Jefferson's the one that sent them, and they did say like, "Hey, man, any number of creatures could be beyond those
That's a
hills.
crazy
Be
thing to
prepared
think
for
about.
anything." Isn't that pretty interesting?
That is
And
actually
then
really
also
is
some of the early frontiersmen. You know what they did discover? Dinosaur fossils.
I was going to say, too, you see enough things you haven't seen before, and you just start going, that's a dinosaur.
Because dinosaurs were not really discovered until right around the time of Jefferson, like towards the end. They
Yeah,
just
it
the
was right
fossil idea, but
Yeah,
they did
the
expect beasts
The
of
term-
unknown origin.
The term dinosaur didn't get coined till the Industrial Revolution in England.
But
Wow, nice
like
facts,
mammoths
Kale.
and mastodons and things, they were prepared to fight beasts of foreign natures. And we're very excited about it. Actually, like, hey man, we don't know what kind of beasts are out there.
Earth is really 4.5 billion years old.
It's pretty old, man.
That's
We're
a long
probably in
time.
the probably past the prime of Earth. Wouldn't you say?
You think we're past
Did
the
you know
prime?
that Earth hit another planet and that's how we got our moon?
Yeah, that's a.
I'm learning a lot.
We're probably on the downside of Earth's career.
Do we have any super chats that were donated for Big Brothers Big Sisters scale? Okay.
Shout out CJ Martinez. Gotta love you guys for helping out the little guy. Just donated. No, it's not much, but every little bit helps.
Every
Thank
little
you
bit
very
helps.
much.
Awesome.
Tomorrow is our big donation day as well. We're doing a whole show kind of themed around it. So
Got to help us
I
out.
might do some push-ups tomorrow.
There you go.
Harlow, our guy from Alaska.
my guy. We got to eat that salmon
Our
they gave
guy
us.
Harlow.
I don't think it's still good, man.
I think it is.
Thanks, guys, for raising a great cause. My wife was a big sister for a girl with a rough life starting in elementary school. 20 years later, she was a bridesmaid at her wedding.
Man, that is
That's
so cool. What a
awesome.
great story, Harlow. That's
I
awesome.
can always trust Harlow to bring some really great vibes to the
You got to hurry
function.
for our buzzer.
Zeke.
Yeah, he
Ish.
just loves the mention. Everybody, thanks for hanging out, and special thanks to everybody who donated. We'll be back tomorrow. That joke is kind of fun.
Super fun.
That was hilarious.